Hi, Rob's Tabletop World. Today is Tuesday, and that means I've taken over the channel. That's right, one Pip Wonder, John Minato, and you're in for quite a treat, I feel. Hopefully you will agree. A little while back, Rob and I had a little conversation about board games and life, and
I see Mysterium on your back shelf there.
Yeah. Oh, you've got such good eyes. Yeah.
And I didn't even have my glasses
It's even
on.
yeah, it's like half covered, but it is a eye-catching box.
Do you like that game?
I love it.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah,
just because it's so pretty. You never have.
And I told him, Rob, I would love to teach you how to play one of my favorite games, Mysterium. And about 9 months later, about the same time it takes to grow an entire human being, I finally decided to do it. Quick interruption. So Rob asked me to make a video for him on Tuesday, for a Tuesday, Takeover Tuesday, which I did. That's why I made this video. But I also wanted to share it with for people on my channel because it is one of my favorite games. So this is how to play one of my favorite games, Mysterium. But if you're not familiar with Rob's, you should check him out because he has a really great following and community. He is posting almost daily and he is a gaming machine. So it's just really fun to see what he's up to. He also paints minis, so he is doing something new every day, and it's nice to have that entertainment and that connection to go to during this time of quarantine. So definitely check out his channel if you haven't yet. This video is a how to play Mysterium for my pal Rob. In this collaborative game, you will be working together to unfold a mystery about a terrible murder that has left a ghost stranded and distressed in a mansion. So the idea is that you're all playing together. There's one ghost, and then everyone else is psychics. The ghost's job is to give the clues of the mystery. They already know what the mystery is. It's their job to reveal it to the players. And all the other psychics, they're trying to decode mysterious images that the ghost will give them throughout the game. So first things first is the setup. The setup of this game is probably the most tedious, finicky, technical part of the game. The gameplay itself is rather casual and collaborative, which is what I like about it. But to get you started on the right foot, I'm gonna go through the setup. Once that's out of the way, we can get into the good stuff. So the first thing is to pick your player color. I'm gonna be yellow. We'll make Rob blue. And then we'll have Virginia be red, and we'll have Daniel be black. We're going to pretend to play with a whole fun group here. You can see here we have a couple piles of cards. These are these colorful ones. These are the cards that the players get to see, the psychics. And these are the suspects. You can see the artwork is gorgeous. They're very interesting with lots of different details in them. Likewise, we have the location or the rooms. This is where the crimes may have taken place. And then we have a deck of items or murder weapons. And some of these are pretty creepy. So yeah, pretty much anything's up for grabs here when it comes to murder weapons. We had some creative murderers. Anyway, these are the murder weapons. Okay, and then we have the ghost decks, and these are identical sets of decks. So to figure out how to set up our game, we're going to look in our handy dandy rulebook, and you will see here these are the player counts, and these are the difficulty levels. So if you want to play a medium level with let's say 4 players, I guess we're playing with 5 because the ghost counts as 1, then you're going to deal out 7 of each of the psychic cards. So 7 suspects, 7 rooms, and 7 weapons. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now that we dealt our 7 cards for the game, we're going to find those same cards in our deck. So the way that we do that is we just look for these handy dandy numbers on our cards. So the cards that I need to pull out of the ghost deck for the location rooms, there's 31, 36, 32, 25, 21, 35, and 30. So I go ahead and do that. See what I mean? It's a little tedious. Okay guys, I did it. I have it all sorted out. It was a lot of work, but I do it for you guys. I do it for Rob's Tabletop World. I have all the numbers pulled, so now we have the ghost deck corresponding with the psychic deck. And now I'm going to show you where all the cards go. This is the fun part. Alright guys, so here I have it all set up. Those 7 cards that we had randomly pulled are here. So we have our 7 suspects, locations, and murder weapons. And I'm already feeling so excited and feeling the suspense. Which one of these guys are the murderers? Where was the terrible deed done? And with what gruesome weapon? So almost ready to start the gameplay. We have a little bit of setup to still do for the ghost, as you will see. Now this is what the ghost is working with behind the screen. Now you can see it gets a little dark. Sometimes what we like to do when we play is have a little lamp next to the ghost so they can see clearly, because you will find when you're looking at these cards there's an incredible amount of detail, but the ghost cards are scaled down to a normal deck size, so it is a little bit harder to see. So it is nice to have a little bit of extra light for the ghost back here behind the screen. Just a little tip. Okay, so I'm going to randomly deal out the number of psychics that are playing, and then I'm going to randomly assign them to one of the player colors, and then that is the suspect that player has to try and guess. So for suspects, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And by color I'm going to assign them. So our first one is yellow, and so that suspect is there. Our next one is blue. Our next one is black. And our last one is the purple one. Okay, cool. And then we do it for the rest of the clues. So this one's for the rooms. So randomly deal 4 for each packet. And this one goes there. And last, the buttons. Okay, finally, everything is set up, and now we can get into the real meat of the game, which is the ghost cards. I'm getting a mysterious vision, and I feel like it's telling you to like Rob's Tabletop World, and then maybe go visit Pip Wonder and like her channel too, and subscribe. Alright, so now we have all of our cards sorted out, which, like I said, is the most tedious part of this game. We are ready to start explaining the gameplay. So as you will see here, this is our game end clock. At the end of each round, the clock will count down an hour. When you get to 8, this will determine whether we go into the next phase or if you lost the game. Alright, Rob, so when you're playing Mysterium, you get a character card. This is where you put your clues as you solve them, as you guess the right answers. And then you have an intuition marker. So when you want to guess if one of your suspects is out here, you place your little marker on the card that you are guessing. Now, as the ghost, you have a couple things here to deal with. These are just little aids to help you remember who you assigned cards to and who you haven't. Kind of helps you keep things organized. I always forget to use these, so they are not that consequential. You have your vision cards. These are the cards that you'll be handing out to your players. When you start a round, you get to deal 7 cards to yourself. 1, 6, 7. Oh. Now you're going to look at these, and you're going to assign whichever one you want to your player. And you start from the top, and you're trying to get your yellow psychic to figure out this person. You're trying to get your blue psychic to guess this colonel guy. You're trying to get the black psychic to guess the nun, and your red psychic to guess the magician. And you have these strange but beautiful cards to enlighten your psychics. So what is it gonna be here? What's gonna get people to guess the correct thing? All right, we have an explorer that's going into maybe the Amazon. All right, what's gonna work? Let's see. Okay, well, first off, I see this one as a really good clue for my red psychic because this suspect has a cape on. So I'm gonna give this to my red suspect and hopefully they will be able to figure out what clue I want them to guess. Let's see how it goes. All right, so now I'm playing the red psychic and I get this picture and everybody gets a card and they're all figuring out their own clue. So I'm gonna look at this. And once everybody gets going, there is a timer. You can start your timer once you have everyone assigned a clue, but often we play that the ghost just assigns the clues as they have it figured out. So not everyone's going to receive their card at the same time because sometimes it takes a while for the ghost to decide what cards to give out. So we kind of skip the timer usually, but you can use the timer to mark the turns. So, okay, so I got this clue and I'm gonna look at all these suspects. So it's a guy with a skeleton of a dog raising flames under the moon. Okay, so what is gonna give me the best chance of having a match? Well, since the ghost did such a good job and gave such a great clue, I'm gonna go with this guy with the red cape because he's wearing a red cape too. That makes a lot of sense to me. Now, Mr. Buckeye, he's gonna put out his card and whatever he thinks, but we also have these little markers here. We have markers that have X's on them and green checks. And I see that the red psychic got this clue, and that seems like a pretty logical match to me. So I'm going to agree with her and say that's a pretty good guess. I'm going to put my guess out here. But maybe Rob over here sees what the red psychic did and is thinking, I don't know, that doesn't really make sense to me. He's going to put a his little red guy out there. An X. Say no. All right, so let's see what happens. Ghost has handed out all the cards to all the psychics and is silently watching them ponder over what they mean. They cannot say anything. The ghost isn't allowed to talk. So once everyone picks the card that they think it is, then the ghost will go around to each player and knock for the answers. I believe it's yes is 2 knocks and no is 1 knock. So I'm gonna go over to the red player and I'm gonna look. Oh yes, she got my clue. So I'm gonna knock and the red player is gonna say, yeah, got the clue. Okay, so then the red player takes back the little globe and this guy gets a point. He goes up on the intuition track. And the blue guy, Rob here, is going to go down. Sadly. My red psychic did a good job. She gets to keep this card. It goes into her little packet. 1 down, 2 more to go. But let's say that unfolded wrongly. Let's say that our red psychic didn't quite get the connection and decided that, oh, there's a gold wolf in this picture and there's gold on this girl's. There's these little gold statues. Maybe that's the right choice. So then the ghost would have knocked no. And instead of getting the clue, what this person gets is to keep this card and then they get another ghost card to try and interpret. And you just keep the cards until you're able to figure out what the clue is. So now what the ghost does, I only have 3 here, so now I can deal up to 7. So I get 7 new cards to work with. And this part right here for the ghost isn't easy. It's really difficult, just depending on what cards come up for you to make clues for the players. Sometimes a card will come up and it'll be the perfect clue for that suspect or that room. And then other times they're just completely bonkers, and you're really just depending on your player's patience to figure it out. And to also like use multiple cards if you have to deal them more than one to kind of tie it all together to figure out what you're trying to get them to guess. Now, if you have a whole like slew of really bad cards that just don't make any sense for your psychics, what you can do is use a crow. Now these crows are for the ghost to put up here, and if I put a crow up here, that means I'm getting rid of all these cards and I'm going to deal 7 new ones. Or you can keep whatever you want. You can keep like maybe 2 are really good, but the rest you're gonna, deal out 5 new ones so you have new clues to work with. You get to do that at the medium level. You get 3 of these throughout the game. At the hard level, you only get 1. At the easy level, you get 1 of these every round. Well, that's a pretty basic idea of how the first phase of Mysterium works. You're just continuing to figure out how to get the players to guess all of the clues. As long as you're able to do that by the 8th hour, by the game end clock, then you move on to phase 2. Now phase 2 is simply taking all of the clues that the psychics figured out, combining them, and picking 1 from each category. Okay guys, I was editing yesterday and I realized I explained the second phase of this game entirely wrong. This is what the psychics will see in the second phase. All the other things that were out on the table in the first phase will go away, and then everyone shows their clues that they received from the ghost as a group. So this is the yellow psychics, the blue psychics clues, the black psychics, and the red psychics. And we put them in order by number. We give this was number 1, this is group number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now, one of these groups is the true answer to the whole mystery. And the ghost behind the screen secretly picks 1. Ready? Okay, so for the end game, yellow's group, this yellow psychic, this is the final answer. So this is going to be the one everyone needs to guess. And the way that this happens is just like before, the ghost gets to select ghost cards for the players to interpret, to do the best to guide them to the correct answer. But this time, the correct answer is a group of a suspect, a room, and a weapon. So this is a bit trickier, but now as a group, the psychics get to figure it out together. So again, you take your hand and you either use whatever cards you have left as the ghost, and you draw up to 7 more, or if you're a smart ghost and you have a crow left, you can, swipe the deck and begin with a fresh hand. But basically, you're going to select 3 of the best ghost cards to clue the players into which group they are to be guessing. And this is where the game end gets a little funky. So that intuition track that you put your little marker on as you guess your opponents, whether they're right or wrong. Well, the more of those that you get correctly, the higher you go on the track. So if you end up between 1 and 4 on the track, you only get to see 1 of the final ghost cards. If you get between 5 and 6 on the intuition track, you get to see 2 of the ghost cards. And if you get 7 or more, you get to see all of the ghost cards, which is going to give you a better idea of what the correct guess is. It's kind of a weird way to end the game. It gives it, I guess, a competitive edge. I can't say that I hate it, but I don't know that I like it. It's something that on occasion we just kind of skip over. We don't really play with these, and we don't bother with the chart. We just let everyone see all the clues at the end to figure out the final conclusion to the mystery. So that's really up to you if you want to play the real way. The game kind of makes it a little bit more competitive, but it's also kind of a weird, more, I don't know, finicky way to play. So it's totally up to you. It's really fun either way, and I hope that you give it a try one of these days, Rob. I wish that I could play with you one of these times, but at least I had a chance to teach it to you. All right, Rob, thank you so much for letting me take over Tuesday and teach you all Mysterium. I know it might not really be your style or the first game you would go to, but thank you so much for letting me share it, because it is one of my favorite games. And like I said, it's not a hard game. It's not a tactical, strategic game, but it creates a really fun event for a game night. And that's why I love it. I love the drama, I love the storytelling, I love the interactions with my friends and family. So I hope you guys give it a try, and thanks so much for watching. Bye now. Oh, I almost forgot. My channel's Pip Wonder. If you'd like to check it out, I do all sorts of board gaming videos. I take my camera along to our local board game group, and I often vlog about those. And I've done cons, we've done a lot of D&D sessions. So if you're interested in anything board gaming or role-playing, go ahead and check it out. I think you might like it. Subscribe. Subscribe. Sorry for this like mix-mash tutorial on how to play Mysterium. It's really hard to teach a game, even a game that you're a big fan of and you've played multiple times. It's still super hard. So bravo to all those teachers out there. Subscribe. Subscribe.